Hello guys, Jory here, and today I'm here to do a small guide on my main, Guard 26, also known as Bonbon. I think this guide is useful and will be definitely useful for people who want to start out playing him. Not sure if I have the quality to do like some super pro advice. I mean, at the end of the day, I think he's a very simple character, and the more complex plays you can do with him simply require good aim. So let's start talking about Bonbon. So Bonbon is one of those old hunters that somewhat has beaten time, but also are kinda old and not good. The reason I say that is because he's one of the more reliable TIE hunters. That is because his camp is probably the best camp in the game. I'd say maybe with Queen Bee, now there is an argument that maybe he isn't. But I still think he beats Queen Bee simply because he deals AoE damage, or rather his skill is AoE. Well, I guess that constitutes as AoE damage because it can hit multiple people. And so that means that you have a bit more leniency when you're camping. But his problem is not on his camp, right? That's the better part of his kit. I know some people don't like the stab on IDV, but I think it's very useful because it shows what NetEase was thinking when they built the character. And as you guys can see, his chair guarding is max. Control is like, hold on, let me count. 1, 2, 3, 4. Oh, there are 5 edges, and it's on the second, so it's 2 out of 5. And his chase is 3 out of 5. Now, I think one thing to take note of is that he was released like many seasons ago. I think we're like reaching season 40. And where's the thing I'm using right now? Here. Yeah, we are on season 40. So Bonbon has been out for a while, and some of those things are not applied the way it should, or rather, it does not represent what it currently is. So, of course, if you compare it to a character like Hullabaloo, which is a way more recent character, you can see that like his pursuit is 4, control is 3, and chair guarding is also no, his chair guarding is 3. Oh, okay, his control is like 3.5. Okay. But anyway, you guys get it, right? Like, it's a picture of how he's, or how they are when they were released. So, I would say that, like, an honest rating on Bonbon would still keep Chair Guardian at 5. I think he still is the best camp hunter in the game. But I would reduce Control to 2. I mean, Pursuit, sorry, to 2, together with Control. I do think Bonbon has some decent control capabilities, but that highly depends on whether he's chaired right next. I mean, he chaired right next to Cypher or not. And his chase is not really that good because, well, this will be a topic later, but if we just want like a really convenient bare bones answer, is that like current survivors are really strong and they can build distance really quickly. And Bonbon, I know every hunter kind of loses to distance, but like chase hunters like Opera Singer can deal with distance way easier than a hunter like Bonbon. That's why chase hunters exist, right? Like their whole point is that distance is not their main counter. Anyway, so if I were to diagnose him on the current meta. I would still probably put him at A tier because I think the ability to get a guaranteed tie if you are like if you have a decent chase is really good. But the problem is that you can only snowball really from the chair or if you get an early down, but like getting an early down is like every other hunter and you can say like, oh, but from the chair as well. But the thing is like each hunter has its specialty. So for example, an opera singer getting an early down, sure, is good, but like that's kind of her point, you know, she's a chase hunter. Bonbon getting a good down on the chair is his point. So their snowball comes from doing their perfect function. But the thing is, since Bonbon depends on the chair to snowball, that means that his character is entirely relies entirely, on his first chase. And it's also one of his worst parts. His first chase is really bad. And of course, it's not as bad as someone like Wu Chang or Nightmare, but it is not good because first, his bones have a somewhat large cooldown. You have to think that it's really hard, not really hard, but unlikely for someone to get chipped by one bomb. And so every 2 bombs you miss add up on time. Now, it is not as bad as a Bloody Queen, for example, which is why he's not as low. Like, he's still a good A tier hunter. And also for other motives, like in his camp, his new buff. So those things bump him to A tier. However, I would not say that he's a hunter that you typically think, especially if you're playing in an ideal scenario where both serves and the hunter are extremely good. You're not thinking on a scenario that you're gonna win as a Bonbon, but rather you're gonna secure your team or like yourself, not a loss of points. I guess that's the best way to put it. But talking about his kit, first we have the bombs. The bombs deal 50% damage of a normal attack. So in my language, of course, like this is the way I refer to things, I would say he deals .25 damage because I consider the HP of Survivor 1, but there are people who would say it deals half damage, like 50%, like it's written here. So just clearing up before I start talking because I'm sure some people say things differently than I, so it's better to clarify. His presence 0, he gets bombs, and his new buff, which is the explosive chair. Now, the explosive chair, of course, only works when you chair someone, and you can't chair someone if you're not on first presence, but either way, he has this ability from the get-go. I guess this is maybe for like duo hunters that you can like interact with people despite having no presence. I'm not sure. Sorry, I don't play casual modes as well. So what does the... Oh yeah, and it's important to say as well, bombs chain, right? Like that's the name, bomb chain. When a bomb is connected to another, so one bomb is in the way of another, both are gonna explode due to the explosion of the one that starts the chain. And that's really relevant. But yeah, the explosive chair is just like you chair someone and you start adding bombs to it. You can add up to 5 bombs. Each bomb adds 4 seconds. And then a timer of 28 seconds will begin. So after the countdown, oh yeah, and after 10, like when there is only 10 seconds left, you can't add any bombs because like that would be too cheesy. Like, oh, we're selling and then suddenly you add 1 bajillion bombs. Like that's unfair and completely reasonable for NetEase to do that. But anyway, when it explodes, it will multiply the number of bombs you applied by 4, and it will add up to the timer on the chair. So if, for example, if the person is after half, like 30 seconds, it will add 4 times 5, 20. So the person will be basically dead. And that's a good interaction with Sadist. I know not everyone runs it. I didn't run it for a time as well. it's kind of like maybe you choose, like, because considering like there is 1 minute of chair, 9% is almost 6 seconds. So it is a pretty decent chunk that you save, because if you bomb all the chair, like if you put all 5 bombs, the person is basically dead. So yeah. Anyway, that's it for the basic skill. Like, it will just add up and it speeds up the process if someone wants to sell, because selling used to be his biggest counter. That, thank God, this cheesy strategy was finally dealt with for Bonbon. So on Presence 1, you unlock Remote Control Bomb, which is just a bomb that you can detonate, and you do a small animation so you can't move, like when throwing, when other bombs explode. Of course, you can use it for chains as well, and that won't make you have to stop, but if you want to detonate it, Bonbon will do an animation. Stand still for a second. And this skill is very important for something that you're gonna see on my Persona build. And the last buff is that it will decrease the time of the bombs from 6 seconds to 5. Now, this is a really good buff, and sometimes I wish that was the regular cooldown, because 6 seconds feels kind of heavy-handed, but that's also when comes resource management. So now to talk a bit about the Persona talent before going to anything gameplay related. I like to talk about what personas I think are the best ones in Bonbon. So Bonbon is one of the hunters that are kind of, I would say, as blessed is the best way to put it, with the ability to use any persona. So Detention is usable, Trump Card is usable, Confined is usable, and Insolence is usable. Now, if you ask me, which trait do I think is the best? Which final trait do I think is the best? Insolence. Why? It's what I was talking about, the remote control bomb. Bonbon's first chase is bad. This means that the earlier you can get to a guaranteed hit, or a guaranteed damage, which would be your remote control bomb, the better. And this is quickly achievable if you manage to put the survivor in a bad position. So, for example, if you bomb and hit, you automatically, or rather, I guess, in most games, you would instantly unlock your remote control bomb. Unless the hit is too early, because then Insolence hasn't progressed a lot. But in general, one hit and one bomb guarantees you remote control. So, and then you can obviously down the person with remote control, especially if they're on a window or a pallet, they're forced to go into an animation, they can't dodge it. So I'd say Insolence is the best one. Now, what trait do I consider bad, even though it is usable? Detention. Now, I think there is one thing that you guys might feel weirded out, because most tournament players use Detention on Bonbon. So there is something super simple about Detention that is an inherited trait. I mean, I guess an inherited quality of it, which is that it's an insurance policy. So if you're losing, you can down someone with one hit. And that changes the game, because that means you can change someone else, down them quickly, chair, and go back to the person you downed before. This usually results the game in a tie. With Bonbon, you don't really want to hit. That's one of the core mechanics that you want to avoid, because since you can do damage with your chips, it is better if you are not going through an animation. Like, if you down someone, you want to instantly carry them to not waste time. If you're hitting, you're wasting time. Does this mean you shouldn't hit? No, I'm just saying, in an ideal world, right, you would want to down someone, right, with, for example, this is not the quicker, most optimal, right, but like, ideally, you want the last hit at least to be a bomb. That's what I'm trying to say. So, Detention is kind of counterintuitive. As well, you want to become more accurate with your bombs, and so Uh, doing a hit is kind of like I'm not as good with my bombs as I should, so I'm running a one hit kill so I can guarantee stuff. Now, I would say that any Bonbon main would tell you that. Like any Bonbon main would say, run insolence and sweep the early game. It's your best chance. Now, I think every Bonbon main can also agree to like quenching and even sadist. Again, I know some people don't run sadist, and I agree with this as well. Like sadist sometimes feels like a waste because if the down is early and you've placed 5 bombs, sometimes people will sell to try believing in the second kiter will do something. But in general, I think everyone will agree that 3 points in sadist is a must. Now, because the way my build is, like I can't really run 3 points in sadist, and this is a choice that I've made, so don't really mind that. But I do think you should run sadist. Quenching is because sometimes you're having a bad chase and you will need to change it, or someone is in a bad position, so you can just change targets. But now about the other final trade. You can, in China and in NAU, because I don't know about Asia, but like I've seen that the most popular second final trait is trump card, and I believe that's because most people want to have a bit more flexibility with their what's the name of this skill, and so like sometimes people prefer to have blink early to do a blink down, or maybe they like peepers to have more accuracy with their bombs, and I think it's a really good trade. The other advantage is that you get Hunter's Instinct, which makes you really fast in the early game. Even though you might want to be bombing the enemy, it's still really good to have the speed boost, especially if it's not a map like Moonlit that the opponent might be too far, and you sometimes will prefer to deal damage, though in Moonlit you could also use the speed to get closer. But I guess the idea is, in my opinion, the reason why I don't use it is because I would rather be bombing. But it's a really good trait. It makes you super fast, and so it's definitely one of the benefits of having Hunter's Instinct. This trait here, Hospitable, is also a really good trait because I know that many survivors use that fucking max struggle bullshit that doesn't do anything, but on the rare stance that like, oh shoot, the survivor will struggle, this can help you, you know. And of course, Trump card, again, I have already said about flexibility. This trade constraint, I think it's decent. It used to be better when it was 60 seconds, but now it's kind of half-assed. Now, if you want to be like me, run confined, I think anti-loop on Bonbon is just perfect. And you get destructiveness for free. You're breaking pallets fast. Bonbon can deal with loops easily depending on how the loop is, but and you don't really want to spend time breaking a pallet, but if you have to break a pallet, it's way better to break it fast. You don't want to have the survivor loop you in the same place 1 bajillion times, and so confined plus destructiveness is just a really good combo. Wither is a good combo, I mean is a good trait as well. Your normal attack here, the Hunter's normal attack will reduce the Survivor acceleration fact by 35 seconds. Means Survivor won't be as fast, you know. Just really good. And of course, lastly, Deteriorate. I mean, this is just like free 5%. Everyone who rescues comes out injured, so they either have to be healed or they're gonna decode 5% slower. And it also helps that Panic is right next to it, which is when a survivor is wounded, incapacitated, or placed in a rock chair, all survivors have their decoding, healing, and destroying speed. Well, I guess some hunters have stuff to destroy, I guess, by 2.5, and this effect can multiply, which means if more people are injured, it will stack. So this is really broken. Like, you can get 7.5%. when someone leaves the chair. I mean, so that is they do a double rescue, but like when they leave the chair, you can have a 5%. This is crazy. Now, obviously, I could talk about like other useful traits. In my opinion, Wanted Order is really good. From what I see as well, many people like to bring it at 2 because it becomes, I think, 30 seconds. And this speed, movement speed doesn't really matter, but yeah, 30 seconds. And 30 seconds is really good because it's the whole time of like the first half of the chair or the second half. So it's the size of one half. So it is just a really good trade. The reason why I don't spend 2 points on it is because I think it's a gambling trait that if you don't hit, it's a waste. If you hit, it's really good because you can always track the person who is on a cipher. So you have 2/3 of a chance of landing on someone who's on the cipher, but you have 1/3 of landing on the rescuer. So if you land on the rescuer, sure, jackpot, okay, but you could get the same result by having 10 seconds, and if it lands on the rescuer, you also know where he's coming from. An announcement, if you don't want to run Wanted Order, I think it's really good because when you're not really winning, like you're in a kind of weird tie or 3 escape, announcement is useful because especially if you run warp, most bonbons run warp, so I think it's really useful. You down someone, chair, warp, pray to God. Now, for other useful traits, I would say the most useful ones are the anti-stun ones. If you are against a stunning team, I mean, of course, if you want to play like me, you're gonna use this. Berserker is also really good. I used to run Berserker, but I preferred to change it to Claustro. I will explain about it soon. Also this anti-stun or struggle free. But yeah, I think Berserker, sometimes I really miss it because when I hit, I feel really slow. And there were games that I felt after I removed Berserker that if I had Berserker, I would be able to reach the chair and down the person. I know I said I shouldn't be hitting, like it's preferable to deal damage with bombs, but sometimes you have to hit, sometimes it's a free hit and you don't want to really waste a good opportunity to get a free hit. I don't know, there are many situations, but in some situation, Berserker saves you, you know. Now, in here, I am running Claustrophobia, and by consequence, Control Freak. Control Freak, honestly, it's decent. When you get a map that has elevation, it's free. And Claustrophobia, I think it's a really good, hey, I'm losing and I'm desperate trait. I have it as my insurance. I think it's better than detention because 65% is super slow and 10% can save you. Many games, not many games I guess because I don't lose a lot, but there were games that I was saved thanks to their slowdown on the doors. And I would recommend bringing this if you are like kind of like me, that you know this. There's always a chance that you might mess up. And yeah, I think this trait is also good, but it is a benefit if you run to bring detention, but I don't really think detention is good. And this one is whatever. Now, let me just talk a bit the builds of other people to see if there's any trait that I did not recommend. Oh yeah, of course. Mischievous. I think Mischievous is good when you're against harassers, and Better, which is a fucking nasty rat right now. Like, holy shit, that character is so fucking OP. I'm glad it's getting nerfed. Protects you against forwards as well, though forward is kind of easier to deal because you can just place a bomb at your foot. And I think Famine is something that people are experimenting. I still quite don't get how it works because I don't get it if like if you're chasing someone it still affects you or not. if it still affects the enemy team or not, but in my experience, when I was playing like against a hunter that had famine, like that shit was in effect for like 3 seconds. They would find the target and it's not in effect anymore. So yeah, giant claw is just, if you want to go for more like dangerous, I guess, chairs, it's a good trait. Yeah, and like I said, notice how everyone here is running insolence. And then there will be someone who's not running insolence. Okay, there's this mad lad running detention. But sadist, wanted order, panic. I think Deer Hunt's kind of a noob trait, but hey, how am I to judge? Alright, this person, same wanted order, sadist, panic. Like, I'm also doing this. This person's not running wanted order. Maybe it could be just because of the specific match that they needed other traits that are better than wanted order. Totally understandable. If you're ever like me, you don't want to change your build too often. But okay, this is a mad lad as well, not using insolence, but wow, okay, kind of weird. This trait's kind of weird, but yeah, see, this guy doesn't run sadist. It's understandable. Now, I guess famine could be useful on Bonbon because sometimes, depending on the map, you really don't start a chase until you are like, until you have looped a certain area 2 times. Like this kind of happens on Ever Sleeping, for example. There are like some really long walls, but I don't think it's really good. But you can see like announcement, panic. This person also runs claustrophobia. I mean, I would just go through the top 10 and I know people are gonna say, oh, it's NAU, but yeah, whatever. So this person running the same build as the other guy, but like with wanted order 1, sadist, anti-stun, Deer Hunt here, whatever, panic. Like, you guys are getting what I'm trying to say. I'm just really trying to showcase here. This person runs a very similar build to me. 3 points on sadist, mischievous. I think mischievous is really good in general as well, because it saves you some time, you know. This trait is whatever, but mischievous is solid. But panic, I guess constraint because they didn't have. I guess they are preferring constraint over claustro, which is fine. And this last person here, more for Chinese solid build, but I mean, like I said, destructiveness, berserker, panic, I guess, just because you need it for berserker. But this build, again, it's you guys can see every Bonbon has their own style, right? This is the way I played. This is not the way I've always played. I think I still have a screenshot of like a really old build that I used to use. But yeah, like in the past when there were way less traits, I used to run confined only. I think many Bonbons used to. And a lot of anti-stun. But yeah, like game has progressed, so we have more stuff as well. But yeah, so I'm gonna hop on in a practice match, and I don't think I can give a lot of guidance in when it comes to playing, because I think that's something that you gather, like experience is something you gather when you oh yeah, and about traits, sorry, I forgot, like your skill, your trait, whatever. I think Barb is the best. You can run TP, you can run Blink, and you can run Peeper. Outside of those, I think they're kind of meme, but yeah, just making it explicit. Now, let me... Yeah, okay, I guess this is all there is. So, first, this is a regular bomb on presence 1. You can adjust the timer of the bomb. I guess that's something I forgot to say. up until 40 seconds, so you can always, like, you chair someone, then you place, like, since the chair has 30 seconds, you can put like a 20-second because people are gonna come early and wait for it. I used to use this a lot, nowadays I don't. But like, for example, if you're here, you could also do this, like you throw a 5-second bomb to that cipher, because then the person who is decoding there is gonna feel scared and like will stop decoding. So yeah, but in general, like you press one, or if you're on the phone, if you press the button, you're just gonna place the bomb, like you're gonna drop it on your foot. And if you hold it, you can hold and throw it far away from you. I know that on the phone you have a bit more freedom on how to throw stuff, like you can move 2 cameras at the same time. Like you can like move to the right and down. Here on the PC you can't. Like I'm moving to the left and down, and like it's still far from me, you know. Like if I push it down, like I'm pushing it down, then it's not moving to the sides, you know. It got stuck in the middle. But yeah, now I'm gonna explain the most basic skill of Bonbon. I mean, I guess the most basic thing would be like throw a bomb. But like the most basic skill that you're gonna learn as a Bonbon is what I call like, I will say this in a stupid way, but like it's just to make it explicit that you won't hear other people saying this. Only me, because I don't know, it's the way I make things logical, I don't know, but it's the feet chain. Why feet? Because when you place a bomb, it drops in front of your feet. So what is a feet chain? A feet chain is a bomb that you're gonna drop, and then you're gonna aim somewhere, you know, here and then here, for example. You're chaining 2 bombs. So when you're chasing someone, there will be someone in front of you. You're gonna throw a bomb, and you're gonna throw another one. Bam. Okay. So here, like, do this, and do this. Can cover a lot of angle. So for example, let's say I chair here. The survivor is here. Like, and I know they're gonna move, so the first thing I would do is here, then like here and here, kind of cover the whole area. Now they can dodge it, which experienced players are gonna know how to dodge, but the idea of a feet chain is that like you're kind of close range to the survivor, and you're gonna like do this, and then like hit. Like this way, you get first presence usually. But sometimes you don't need it, like sometimes you're just like chasing and then boom. This is a basic chain that you're gonna learn when you are starting to play Bonbon. Now you might be like, okay, but I want to do like super chains from afar that like destroy my enemies. How do I do those? Well, those you learn through experience. You guys can also see something that I just did here, which was miss the chain. Why? Because chaining bombs are also kind of reliant on ping. So if you are, like you guys can see, I play on 112 ms. So depending on your ping, your inputs are gonna be like not as instant as they should. So for example here, like there is some delay to my inputs. Like I'm pretty sure you guys can hear my keyboard. I'm gonna press 1 and there is a delay. So again, I'm gonna put my mic closer to the keyboard. There is like a small like I don't know how long that is, to be honest, but it is probably like half a second, something like that. Which means that like if I want to chain from afar, like there are some bombs that I won't be able to land. Like this one, I mean, like I'm an experienced Bonbon, so I know how to chain my bombs properly, and I know which ones I can and which ones I can't. But all I'm saying is that, like, if you're playing on 200 ping, you're probably not gonna be able to do like a super far chain that, whatever, you know, like it's kind of hard to be accurate from afar as well. So if you have a greener ping, then you're obviously gonna be able to be more accurate and have more time, you know. I'm not saying this to like victimize myself or cry or whatever. I'm just saying this for pure advice. So if you're gonna go to my comments and say like, oh, how do I do like a chain from afar, which is also how I call it, whatever. Like you have to practice. I don't know what to tell you. Like you need to kind of like memorize how to get the angles right, you know? And I know I was thinking like, maybe someone would think actually like, oh, your chains are simple and whatever. Like, yeah, I'm just playing around, but when it comes to game, you know, what happens in the game is in the game, I guess, like, it's just part of the game. But yeah, Bonbon is a really simple hunter. And I would say my, oh yeah, right. So let me down someone. I think there was someone like a cheerleader there. Just a cheerleader. Let me see if I can find the person who's here. Oh, alright, I can just teleport to survivor. Okay, sure, hello. So when you chair someone, you're gonna either want to chair on a cipher or super far away from the survivors, because then either they have to travel a lot or you are pressuring a cipher. And as you guys can see, for example, here, I know there are 2 gravekeepers, but like, I hit jackpot, you know? So like, it doesn't really matter. But you're gonna place 1 bomb here immediately after a chair. Why? Because the 28 seconds start and you basically just shared, so there's like 30 seconds. So you're gonna basically explode right after, when it becomes after half. If you're using sadist, it will be after half when it explodes, but if you're not, it will be right after, I mean right before after half, or maybe like slightly during the same time. But the idea is that like it kind of explodes at the same time, and if you put 1, then you're kind of indicating to the survivors, like it's kind of like a warning shot, I guess. You're like, hey, if you don't come to rescue, I'm gonna place all 5 bombs and you're screwed up. So this is a good tip to send a message. And because in IDV, it's also all about how you pressure people, how you manipulate the game in your favor. So if you are thinking like, oh, okay, like how do I make people not just sell and come? Say like, oh, place 2 bombs even. Like say, yo, I'm gonna explode this person and you're forced to come, or else it'll be after half and then you're done. Another good tip for Bonbon is that like sometimes when you're moving, like your bomb will get stuck. So like you want to shoot far away, and for example, like you move close to a wall, and then your bomb won't go. So sometimes you're playing and then you're like, oh, imagine there is a survivor right on that pallet, right? So I'm coming there and then I do this, even though I am past this, right? Because like, look here, it shouldn't get stuck, but when I throw it, it gets stuck because I started the animation here. So the game is considering I'm kind of there, you know? So when you're like here, you're like, fuck, here it went through. Okay, I guess maybe it doesn't go at the immediate second, but you guys can see that like if you start the animation too behind, or if you start moving, hold on, let me see if I can do it. Like here, if you're moving and then you throw it like in the middle of the animation, then it's gonna get stuck. Down here, woohoo, okay. But now, if you're like too close, then you're like, oh shit, it's stuck. See, like, you have to either be confident. Look. Okay, this one went through. I guess it follows your character. I don't know. Like, sometimes it doesn't. Sometimes it does. I guess the tip is be careful with the corners, okay? Be careful, or else the bomb will get stuck. Now, this tip I can't really like show on a match like this because there are no players, and I can go on a replay, but like there's already a lot of replays here in my channel for you to watch. But I would say the best tip to camp is first you throw a remote control from afar, and then you start camping with your regular bombs. Because you want to pressure the survivor when they are on the chair to make a mistake. Not only that, but when you are on the chair and the survivor is close, they're paying attention to two things. One, how much has the whatever, like kind of like their chair HP progressed, and two, how close they are to being terror shocked. So for example, a mercenary will be under pressure probably when they are at 2 HP, because they're gonna think you're not gonna terror shock. So if they are under no risk of being terror shocked, then they're gonna be like, oh, okay, sure, it's fine. But that's a really big mistake, because what you're gonna do always camping as a Bonbon, you're gonna be like trying to hit the person, covering as much ground as you can. But then once you see the person approaching you, and this is hard, the higher your ping is, the harder. Like imagine there is a merc like here, like where this bomb fell. So like he's coming to the chair. I don't know how close you need to be to start animation, but whatever. Like think this, you're gonna and look, I say this because I have terror shocked so many survivors doing exactly this. So this is really important advice. You're gonna drop a bomb as quick as you can and immediately hit. I guarantee you 80% you're hitting that terror shock, and then like there will be like some bot or like some YouTuber saying like, oh, terror shocks are just luck. No, this is pure strategy to terror shock. You go, do this, bam, hit. They're gonna be like, okay, I have to rescue. So you're already like here, boom, ha, terror shock, you know? It's simple. And the more you play Bonbon, the more timing you will have for those things. Like, to me, it's basically like second nature. Like I can terror shock people very frequently because I already am very used to the timing of the rescuers, and I can basically read them super easily. There's also the reverse hit tactic that you kind of do this, like you stay like on the opposite. I can't perform it really well. Like you hit, but then you like turn your camera super fast. I don't really know how to do it. I guess I'm a bot, but like there is a tactic that you can like, you start your hit animation on your back and then you terror shock. I don't really know how to do it perfectly, but you can also do that. Though of course it's better if you just rely on your camping tools. But like besides that, like I'm trying to think like more things I could add to you guys. But I think those are the main things that I can help you as a Bonbon. Like if you want to start being a Bonbon main, those are the things to keep in mind. There's also one thing that kind of sucks, I guess, if you're like a higher tier, but like obviously when you're on a higher tier, people are gonna expect you to do like the good chains, you know? Like you're supposed to like hit those far away chains because the survivors are gonna be better at transitioning, right? That's your main counter. Like I know Composer is a trash survivor, but like imagine a Composer on Red Church and he goes inside church, like through one of the windows, activate his skill, is already on the other side of the church. Meanwhile, you are like this. They're gonna vault, they're gonna vault again, and like you're super slow, you know? If it's an opera singer, she's like, pshom, pshom, you know? Like, okay, I'm sorry, this is kind of stupid, but like, you guys get it, right? Like, essentially, you are slow. So, oh yeah, right, bro. Your camera also gets stuck when you... I guess that's also one difference from mobile. I'm pretty sure on mobile you can adjust your camera. On PC, like if you're like moving your camera a lot, like you see that it's kind of like very unsmooth. And like, then you're like, okay, I'm stuck. And then you have to like remove the bomb and like get it again because this game hates, this PC hates, I guess. Like there's a PC hate for NetEase. Yeah, like be careful with the way you position your camera, because if you're like this and you select the camera, you're gonna be. If you're like this and you select the camera, you're gonna be like this. So yeah, I guess randomly remembered another good advice. Pay attention to the way your camera is. You usually want to be like either like kind of like you if you are running what's the name, trump card at the start of the game, you will want to be like this, so you obviously won't be able to chain properly. If you're in a regular chase, you're probably gonna want to be like either like kind of like this or like this, like depends on the situation, right? Like, looking more downer, it gives you more precision close, but if you're looking far away, you can, not this, I guess like this, then you can like have more precision far away, so yeah. But yeah, I guess now this is all I have to advise you guys. I really hope this video was helpful, because I think Bonbon is super awesome hunter, and people need to play him more, you know, like he's fun, he's cute, and overall I think that unranked he's a really effective hunter, because since he's kind of old, most people don't expect him to come. Now granted, like if you look at the top S badges of Bonbon, you're gonna see like a bunch of pros, like there's I think CH4 Ling, I guess, and there was Pit Stoppers, Sprinter was there as well. I think Lazy Roger is also in the team, so there's him. I don't know these two Chinese people. Well, here's Sprinter. I think there was someone else as well that was like a pro that had like some sort of badge with him, but I guess it's like a low badge, so it doesn't really matter. Oh, here, right, alien. But yeah, like I don't understand Chinese, so typical junior. I think it's GSL, correct? I think this person's high tier. No, okay. Sorry, random person, I opened your profile. Well, but yeah, I guess those are all, right? Maybe I think maybe they were like an early S badge. But yeah, so I hope this video was very good for you guys, and I hope this helped you at least start your journey with Bonbon. I think some last advice: if you don't want to watch me, right? I'm just a random, like I'm not a pro. I'm just a random guy on low peak tier. So I understand if you go like your opinions are worthless. You are worthless. But at least watch, like, I don't know, watch Happy Bud. Like that channel is goated, man. When I started, that was all the content I watched, and it's really good to grab on some tactics or like some persona traits or like everything the guys are doing there. They're doing as peak Chinese players, so you have a lot to learn. You can see the way they loop, right? Looping is also important. I forgot to talk about that. But in general, Bonbon is good as an anti-loop, but has one of its advantage. For example, think of the graveyard on Red Shirt, right? Like the walls are large, and the space between the walls are also large. On those loops, Bonbon is bad. Now think of 11 on Ever Sleeping. 11 is really trash against Bonbon because that area is super tight. So it's very easy to hit bombs there. Think as well of like the part behind the funhouse that has a cipher and is a dungeon spawn, and has like 2 pallets and then a wall behind with 1 pallet and 1 really tight area with another pallet. That's just isolated, like it's the top corner, I guess that's the best way to say it. That part's also really bad versus Bonbon because even though the behind part is kind of spacious, Bonbon can't chain there. So keep that in mind. Like spacious places are not really good because it gives room to dodge, while small places or tight spaces are really good to you because it's easier to land the bombs. But yeah, watch those guys. Watch pros. Fav Yummy. I don't remember. I think it's DFM now. I don't know if he's still on DFM. I don't remember how to check this, so I think it's maybe here. Club introduction. Yami here. Yami is still here. I guess they don't show how. Oh, here. Well, you can see Bonbon here, right? It's his main. So like, watch pros. You know, don't want to watch me. Watch pros. Watch. Who plays Bonbon nowadays? I don't know. I remember Pipishia, who is a survivor, used to play him, but like, who plays him nowadays? I don't know, man. When Sprinter pull that fucking bomb on and detonate everyone, when Pit brings it out, watch them, you know? I guess those are my recommendations. If you don't want to watch a random shitter like me, watch the good players. But yeah, uh, I I've been talking here for 50 minutes. I didn't even realize. I believe most of you are bored and don't want to waste more time. You know, this is just a game, and I understand because long videos are ass. I noticed they underperform on my channel, and I understand because I also have work and I study, and sometimes you only have 2 hours of free time a day, and you don't want to spend 1 hour of your day watching a video from a random guy who is just happens to be decent at this character talk about this character, right? So yeah, I'm sorry for taking your time, but I hope if you watched until here, I hope this video was useful to you. I will probably do a very cute thumbnail to try getting some attention in this video because I guess good thumbnails bring more reliable, right? There was a video that I just put Bonbon's ass on the thumbnail and didn't get any views, so I'll try doing something good. Even though like the last thumbnail I did was just like a random duck picture, but well, who cares? I'm talking too much. This is Jory, and thanks for watching. Bonbon is awesome. That's all. Goodbye. Thank you for watching.